Alrighty, so the first thing I'm going to do for this little hair bow is I'm going to cover one of these plastic headbands, or I call them pullbacks. I don't know if you have a particular name for them, but anyways, I'm just going to cover one of these, and you can see I'm just kind of going to eyeball it when I cut the fabric out here, but I do want the fabric to be about 2.5 times the width of the plastic headband, and you also want to add about 2 inches so that you can wrap it around the ends. And I'm just going to hot glue that, and you're going to see me do that, and then I'm going to get started with making the bow. Alright, so you can see in the video here that I'm not actually putting glue all over the fabric or all over the headband. It's just really messy, and I burned the crap out of myself with that hot glue gun. So just a minimal amount to hold that fabric on is all you need. You could use tacky glue or something else if you choose to do that, but I like using just the hot glue gun and just putting the bare minimum on there. So anyways, there's that. Okay, here you're going to see me cutting this fleece that I had. It was all I had on hand. I just don't recommend doing this part. It's so hard to get it neat. It is for me. If it's not for you, then congratulations. But I would have just left it and put fabric over it. So anyway, now we're going to start with the bow pieces. And you can see I have my pieces laid with right sides together. Because that's how I'm going to sew it, but you're going to move it around anyway. So, and I have 2 pieces of interfacing here, and this is the lightweight interfacing, the fusible interfacing. So for my little mid-center piece of my bow, I'm doing about 3 inches by about 6 inches. You're not going to need that much, and you'll see mine actually changes later because I messed it up. So the bow piece is going to be about 12 by 8. And that's a pretty good size difference. I wouldn't do square. I tried doing a square sized bow, and I didn't like the way it looked. So you want it to be longer than it is wider, no matter what size you make it. And here I'm just putting this fusible interfacing on, and I do have a video for interfacing, and then there will be a link in the top right hand corner of this video if you want to click on that. Go check it out right quick. So once I have all of the interfacing ironed on, I'm going to go ahead and sew the pieces. And I'm just going to sew down that one side, right sides facing together, of that little center piece for the bow. And then I will turn that. I'm going to take pins right here, and I'm going to mark where I want to leave it open. And I'm trying to do it dead center and as small as I can make the opening so that it doesn't show. So I'm going to sew all the way around, leaving that opening, and then I will turn it. Alright, so you see I've got my pieces sewn here, and I am going to turn this little center piece out and then just set it aside. What I will do is I will trim and turn the actual bow body piece, and you'll see when I trim this that I actually leave, I don't trim the area where I left the opening for turning. It's just going to make it so much easier to press and close that up no matter how you do it. And you'll see that I'll do mine with fabric glue, but you can stitch it by hand or by machine. It's all up to you. I just find the fabric glue is the easiest way for me to do that. Alright, so I am going to fold this over and find the center, and I'm going to mark the center. And then what I'm going to do is double thread a needle. I like to go through that twice so that my thread doesn't break. And I'm just going to go about 2/3 of an inch apart with each stitch I'm doing, just so I can pull it together and make a pretty bow. And you kind of want to think of it in terms as how many stitches, how tight you make those stitches. That's how gathered your bow is going to be. So you don't want to gather it too much with these big bows. You're going to have a mess to try and straighten out. So I do about 2/3 of an inch all the way down, just spacing it out. I do, you know, if you get what I'm saying. So I'm going to tie this off, and then I am going to fix this little centerpiece and find just exactly how big I want it to be. And you can see there that this is not the original piece I started with. I just wasn't happy with that centerpiece. It was too narrow, and I didn't trim the selvage or the seam allowance, and so it was kind of messy. But I just fold it over and then fold it over on itself and sew it. And when I get towards the ends of this little piece, I like to sew it just a little bit onto the bow. Just tack it on there so it doesn't move around and the bow doesn't slide out. Because if you're going to put this on a headband like this, there's a chance that the bow could slide out if you don't attach that little centerpiece to it. So that's just what I'm doing. Always make sure you tie off, and I like to run my thread through my fabric a couple of times where you can't see it and cut it off so it's got a nice long tail and it doesn't come undone. So now just to attach it to the actual headband piece, and then it will be finished and it'll be photography time. And just some things to remember: be really careful with this hot glue. This was definitely just for video purposes because the glue was showing through the bow, and I just didn't like the way the felt looked on the headband. So yeah, but it's still adorable. And if you like this fabric, there is a link to it in the description box below. This is actually my fabric from it's a fabric that I designed and I got through myfabricdesigns.com. I have many different fabrics on there, so go check them out. Make sure you purchase them. You can get a discount on that, and you'll see that discount code in the description box and right here on the video. Hope y'all enjoyed this. Y'all have a great week. Peace, y'all. Bye-bye.